My name is Tina. I'm 38 years old, and I started stretching for my health, but within 3 days it triggered back pain, and I'm terrified of aging. Huh? That's not aging, that's just lack of exercise, isn't it? Well, no way. When you reach a certain age, it's easier to blame it on age. Like when I don't recognize a popular comedian, or when popular idols all look the same. Today, I am talking about the time when I used to wear heeled shoes without fear of falling and proudly wore mini skirts without knowing the sagging of the flesh above my knees, but I hope you can hear me. That was about 10 years ago now. I was in the spring of my 3rd year of marriage to my husband of the same age, Tommy. I wish he had been a very kind, considerate, and caring husband before and after our marriage, but it was only in our early days as newlyweds that things went fairly well. Parents are important. I am not saying that you should not listen to your parents at all. I just want my parents-in-law, especially my mother-in-law, to be willing to speak up when the time comes. She was a person who persistently said to me, after things settle down, it would be nice to live together. I don't say what I don't think it's nice to be told that it's nice. But my parents-in-law said, you must be happy with us and you are with us, aren't you? Because it was my no-good husband who caused that. He himself said that if we lived together, we would lose our freedom, but in front of my in-laws, he decided to pay lip service to the idea of living together with his parents. It is no wonder that my in-laws, who have no idea that he is duplicitous, are overjoyed and say, isn't that right? It was only natural that they would be so excited. Thanks to this, my parents-in-law kept dreaming that one day their son would move in with them and take care of them. He would never take care of his parents properly if he left even his own socks inside out. It would be me who would have to do that. Wow, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. I had been having a bad experience every time I went back to my parents-in-law's house since we got married. My mother-in-law, who wanted to live with us as soon as possible, said at first, you are both newlyweds, so we can live together after you get settled down. But it was not easy to make her wish to move in with us come true. However, since she could not fulfill my wish to live together with my mother-in-law, recently she has been making a lot of variations in her speech. Oh, my knee hurts. Lately it's hard for me to do housework. I wish I could get comfortable as soon as possible. Or, we're just the two of us, aren't we? We don't talk much. You're young, so I'm sure it's lively. Will I grow old and lonely? Oh, but I enjoy your company. Or, oh, no, 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 no. My back hurts. What if one day I can't stand up in the bathroom or in the bath and I die? And so on. Do you get the idea? This exquisite and unfunny jealousy. Even for a joke about the elderly, the choice of words is almost threatening. Even if one tries not to pay attention to it, one feels uncomfortable. Moreover, when they appeal to our physical ailments, it sounds like they are asking us to move in with them and do our share of the housework. In fact, I have to do all the housework when I go to their home, and for the time being, I gave her supplements that are said to be good for her legs and back and a DVD of a drama that my mother-in-law is into to shut her up. She and my father-in-law can watch it together and talk about it. Well, as far as my mother-in-law was concerned, the gift would not cause any trouble, and I was able to dodge the conversation about moving in together with her. The problem was my father-in-law. He was the type of person who might not like it if I tell you this, and some might say it's an assumption, but he was the type of person who would say, I'm going into the shower, so please wash me. If you want, he even asked me to go in with him. Even though he was my father, he was my father-in-law. Even with my own father, I would never wash him at my age. It would be even more unthinkable for me to go in with him. It would be normal to have a sense of resistance. And yet, no one in the family, not my husband, not my mother-in-law, nor anyone else in the family raised an objection to it. Oh my goodness, it's nice to have a bath together as a family, and there was no sign of communication. I couldn't refuse to go home right after our marriage, and I myself was puzzled and wondered if it was a common practice in this family. I was so bewildered and taken in by the air that I once flushed only water down my back. After that, I adamantly refused, but however, that was not okay because I refused. For some reason, my father-in-law would come in by accident after my bath. He said he didn't think anyone was there. I thought it was strange the first time I went home at the end of the year, so I began to dislike my father-in-law when the same thing happened the second time we went home in the summer. Let's just say that would be the only time it happened, but once was strange, twice was not. After that, I even told my husband that I didn't want to go their home, but to no avail. It's just a coincidence, isn't it? He would think such a strange thing about his own son's wife. We're family, remember? Aren't you a little too self-conscious? Maybe you watch too much drama. He lightly dismissed me. I had no choice but to send my husband home first at the end of last year, saying I wasn't feeling well, so I took a bath at home and joined him when everyone had finished taking a bath. My father-in-law seemed to want to say something, and my mother-in-law said to me, "You are cold even though we are family." Yeah, whatever you want to say. I would much rather be a cold person than wash my father-in-law's dirty back and lose my dignity. As there is no one around me to rely on, I have no choice but to protect myself by myself. Through this series of events, I had become completely fed up with my no-good husband and in-laws. After all these experiences, I was about to return their home for the summer. In order to fulfill my childhood dream of opening a coffee shop, I decided to build a custom-built house with a new garden with the money I had saved up until then. I planned to operate a small cafe on the first floor and use the second floor as a staff room and storage space. The garden will be planted with colorful flowers, and a terrace will be built there. With the ocean nearby and lots of greenery, the place will have a nice atmosphere with the scent of sea breeze. This I bought a house story leaked out from my husband to my mother-in-law. Recently, my mother-in-law and I contacted my husband's cell phone by ourselves. "Are you thinking about living together?" And urged him to do so. At that time, my husband told my mother-in-law, "Tina bought a house, so we might live together sooner than you think." My mother-in-law, who was convinced that we were finally going to live together, called me on my cell phone right after she talked about it with my husband. "Hello?" I heard. "What?" "You are already a good joke. I heard that you built a house. It is a newly built house with a garden. I'm glad you bought such a splendid thing for us." "What?" "Wait a minute. Where did that story come from?" "My son told me. His wife is building a house, and we may soon be living together." "Oh, was it supposed to be a surprise?" "But I'm glad." My mother-in-law sounded in the best mood I had ever heard. "No, I didn't buy it with the intention of moving in with you guys." Again. "Let's talk about the details some other time." "I look forward to it." Click. The phone was hung up unilaterally, and an empty sound echoed. She just said what she was going to say and hung up. That night, when my husband came home from work, I yelled at him. "What do you mean? Why is the house I bought for myself going to live with your parents?" My husband rolled his eyes and said, "Oh, I didn't say to live there. I just said that it might happen in the future. Of course they will misunderstand if you talk like that. What are you going to do?" Shut up. Why don't you just say you don't intend to live with them? Don't be so angry. I'm mad at you because you're not going to tell them. That's good. If you and my mothers live with us, you might be able to do your chores easier. My husband yawns and says something random. What? I always do the housework when we come home. How can you say that after seeing that situation? Oh, that's okay. Think positively. I've already given them the address. You should just live with them. I'm beginning to think that's okay. I don't have to go through the trouble of buying a house to live together anymore. I was absolutely stunned. I was literally at a loss for words. I don't want to live with my in-laws, and they're taking over the house I bought for my dream? I mean, how did you know the address of my house? I told you that I bought the house, but I didn't tell you where it was. If you bought it, it's mine too. I found some papers in a drawer in the bedroom, so I just looked there. I had locked the drawers in the bedroom. The key was hidden in the place where I kept my underwear. Where did they find out? How can you say that you found what I hid and then just looked there? I wanted to tell him not to go through my personal belongings, but it is true that I was lax in my control. But still, to find a hiding place like that, my mother-in-law and her husband are family. They have no sense of delicacy toward women. I feel self-loathing and rejection toward my parents-in-law and my husband. Then, despair struck me that I had no choice but to live with my in-laws. The next day, my mother-in-law called my cell phone again. I tried to use the answering machine, but as soon as the call went dead, she called again, so I gave up. She kept calling until I picked up the phone. Yes. Oh. I couldn't wait to call you back. It would have been a happy line if my beloved lover had said it to me. But my mother-in-law? Even my husband would have goosebumps. I replied with a disappointed hug without any enthusiasm. We've decided to live together, so I've taken the necessary steps to move out of this house. The details are still to be worked out, but everything is ready. What? I was so surprised that a mysterious voice came out. I was praying that everything that had happened since yesterday was a dream, not just a preparation. And yet, with my mother-in-law. That's what this is about, so please tell my son. She said cheerfully. What do you mean by that? It's insane to move out of the house when we haven't even agreed to live with them. Are their brains made of bread? Oh, hello, it's me. I heard you finally decided to live together. Then my father-in-law took over the phone from my mother-in-law. It was the worst. I didn't even want to talk to him on the phone if I could. I kept silent and didn't answer anything, but my father-in-law didn't care and kept talking. Well, we are a family of 4 from now on. I've already decided to pack up our stuff and send it to you, so could you pick it up at our new house next Wednesday? What? This really surprised me. It was more than just a matter of time before I heard that he had sent them a package. But the other party was an unplanned couple who thought they could move in together even though they had not been given permission to do so, and then decided to move out of the house they had grown accustomed to living in. It was wrong to think that they would be able to communicate with someone who does not listen to them. I am so sorry, I am so sorry. If you want to leave home so quickly, I will let you do as you wish. I understand. I'll be waiting for your package to arrive. 1 week later, on Wednesday, my mother-in-law called me on my cell phone in the afternoon. Hello? Did you get our stuff? I was curious, so I called you. Oh, yes, it has arrived. I just sent my luggage to my parents' house today. What? You sent it to your parents' house? What do you mean? I sent my stuff to my parents' house. I mean it as it is. No, no. Why? You mean you sent something you don't need? Of course not. Do you force things you don't need onto your parents' house? Oh no, you act like an ogre. No, it's not like that. You are already rude. I don't understand what you mean. Please explain it to me. I don't need to leave my belongings at home anymore. Why? Because you and I are not going to live together. In the first place, our new house is still under construction. What? My mother-in-law let out a loud voice for a moment. What do you mean? She came to me with a bite in her mouth. What? It's going to be a very long story. Do you want to hear it? Don't be silly and talk quickly. Damn, you can't take a joke. Usually she doesn't listen to me at all, but only at times like this she tries hard to listen to me. It can't be helped. I'll give you the answer. The earliest I can move into that house is 6 months from now. The construction period has been extended because of my insistence on the interior design. What do you mean? Because my son said you are building a house now. I could hear her voice with my mother-in-law rising and trembling even over the phone. That's why we are building it. It's ongoing. We haven't finished building the house. You made an elementary mistake because you don't listen to people. Before I could finish my sentence, my mother-in-law screamed at me. Which one of us was the one who made a rude and arbitrary mistake? If I had told my husband first that my mother-in-law had sent the package without my permission, this could have been prevented. My husband knows that my house is still under construction. She made such a lousy mistake because she only listened to what was convenient for her and proceeded with her story with a convenient interpretation. Wait, what should we do then? We're going to move out of this house in a month and a half. Had she already decided that early? I was afraid of her persistence to live with us. My mother-in-law, who usually moved slowly with a sore leg or a sore back, became young again only at a time like this. I don't know anything about that. Why do you think you are going to live with me in the house I built? Because we are family. Please don't say such a terrible thing. It makes me sad. What? Family? What are you talking about? Do you know where I am now? It's the town hall, the town hall. I brought the divorce papers. What? My husband was crying so hard, asking, what did I do? I managed to persuade him for a week. What do you mean? I was so glad that she asked to me, and I smiled. If my mother-in-law had been in front of me, I would have given her my best disgusted face and snickered at her. I answered my mother-in-law's request and told her the story of my divorce. It was the night of the day my in-laws told me they had sent their belongings to their new home. I literally said goodbye to my husband. We were having dinner and I was light-hearted. Oh, yeah. Break up. He was so surprised. Why? Did I do something wrong? No. Seriously? Did I do something wrong? If he thought that, he would be erased from the world by the wives group. You've done nothing but wrong. You've done nothing but bad things. What? Needless to say, I was shocked to see his face so pure and innocent. You would talk about other people's stories and go through people's underwear without their permission. On top of that, do you really think you haven't done anything wrong by responding appropriately about living together? Yes. I see. You left your common sense in your mother-in-law's stomach. I can't go back to get it, and it's going to stay like this for the rest of my life. We can only hope for his next life. I'm relieved. I can divorce you without any worries. Wait a minute. I've already made up my mind. I can't stand you and your mother-in-law anymore. I will divorce you no matter what. For about 6 days from that declaration to the time I won the divorce, we fought fiercely every night. I thought he would agree to the divorce easily, but he didn't want to be the one to be dumped, and we had quite a struggle every time I broached the subject of divorce. The day I was trying to get him to sign the divorce papers by strangling him with my fragile strength was probably the most normal day of my life. I also defended myself with his newly purchased laptop computer when he threw the remote control at me. The computer looked intact, but it started making strange noises when I turned it on. He got angry and later overturned the table, and I quickly defended myself by using his brand new coat, which was nearby, as a shield. I washed it lightly with water and dried it, and when I left it overnight, it was covered with the smell of unwashed ketchup and garlic. He didn't seem to notice the ketchup stain, and I had no intention of taking it to the cleaners. He would at least wash it since he has never taken it to the cleaners himself, but if I washed it like that, the stain would not come out. A ketchup-designed coat. Wow, how nice. Perhaps I was shocked that I had damaged two important things by my own fault, but from this point on, my husband stopped physically attacking me. On the contrary, when we fought, he only looked annoyed and gradually lost his temper. He gave up. After a series of death matches with zero decency, I finally received my husband's signature and the victory of my life with his word that we were getting a divorce the day before yesterday. Well, if he hadn't decided to divorce me by the day the package arrived, the whole plan would have been ruined, but I am so glad that I succeeded, even if it was just in the nick of time. My mother-in-law, after hearing the whole story, said, "Let's reconsider." No, I've been thinking about divorce for a long time now, and I've made my decision here. What more do you want me to think about? To be involved with this house is the same as being in a muddy boat. You must be tired. It's hard to find a good family like us. Don't you see? Please reconsider. What? With all due respect, what in the world makes you think you have a good family? I have never thought of you as a good family. What? The husband and the mother-in-law must really think that their actions are for their wives. I wish they would stop putting flowers in their heads. The father-in-law tries to make his wife wash his back. The mother-in-law doesn't feel any different and forces her to do all the housework, and the husband pretends not to see it. What kind of a good family is that? You are always saying that your knees hurt, your legs hurt, and you force me to do all the housework, but when a cool actor is on TV in the living room, you run to him even from a distant room. You are so healthy, aren't you? I know. You were on the phone with your friend saying how convenient it is to be a wife who doesn't have to do anything once you move in with your son and his wife. When I said that much, my mother-in-law gulped for a moment. I'm sorry. That was a joke. I didn't think so. It was more like lip service to my friend. I see. I despised it even more. I don't want a parent-in-law who treats his wife like an object to make conversation with her friends more fun. Oh, no. My mother-in-law was in tears as she noticed my uncooperative behavior, as if she thought she could get by with just apologizing. I'm very sorry that you are shedding dirty tears, but since that's the case, we are not putting your belongings inside the new house. What? Of course. We are in the middle of decorating our new house, so we can't go inside. Wait, where is it then? I left it in someone's parking lot in front of our new house. What? What if my things are stolen or broken in someone's parking lot? Do something about it. What are you talking about? I just got divorced from my husband, so I am a stranger to you people. I have no obligation to work for you. You are disgusting. I didn't expect you to be such a wife. You're a jerk. I am not his wife anymore. Oh, today, heavy rain is forecast from around 4:00 p.m. Raindrops are already falling. But you might have to go get them or your luggage will be soaked. I laughed, imagining the soaking wet and heavy cardboard boxes and their damp contents. Oh, there are home appliances in those boxes. You are going to. I hung up the phone before she could finish. so I didn't hear her old-fashioned line. The divorce was final. I was truly free. 10 years have passed since then. After the divorce was finalized, my ex-family-in-law and ex-husband seemed to be irritated with me and didn't do anything for a while. However, about 3 years after the divorce, they suddenly visited the house that was supposed to be my new home at that time. The woman whom my ex-husband was planning to remarry was a marriage swindler, and he was so cheated that he was stripped of all his possessions, ran away, got into debt, embezzled company money, and lost his job. He even embezzled the company's money and was fired. He then asked me to get back together with him and support him because he was having a hard time. I was deeply horrified by both my ex-husband and ex-parents-in-law who came to me in tow to bow down to me for such a stupid thing. Naturally, I politely gave him a couple of slaps and refused, but he was quite persistent, so I consulted the police and asked them to give him a warning. This seemed to be effective, and he left with a tearful look on his face and has not appeared since. As for me, I have fulfilled my dream and am running a cafe in my new house. I expanded what was supposed to be a staff room and warehouse, so it is now my workplace and home. Originally, I was thinking of a divorce in the future, so I had bought a house to guarantee both my dream and my life, and well, I am so glad I prepared for it. I like the area because the local people are kind and it is a really nice place to live. In fact, my personal life has changed this year. I am getting remarried to a coffee wholesaler. When my ex-husband came to this new house to ask me to get back together with him, I guess he sensed the stuffy atmosphere, but he happened to be there to bring it in, and he stood in front of me to protect me from my ex-husband. I was tired of my husband who never did anything for me, my mother-in-law who only thought of herself, and my father-in-law who did whatever he wanted. That was the moment I realized for the first time that there really are men who protect women. That made me fall in love with him more, but since he was a business associate, I took the time to tell him how I felt about him. And this year, we are getting remarried. We are both divorced, his because his wife cheated on him, but because we both know what it's like to struggle with spouses, we have a relationship that is full of compassion. Today, with coffee in one hand and the scent of the tide drifting in from the ocean in the other, the two of us are living a peaceful life together. I am truly happy in these ordinary days. What did you think of this story? Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.